Hi to everyone who joined. I'm Lucy. I'm the facilitator for this session. Today we have representatives from Medicine in Mandarin and Med Spanish. So we're going to start with just a brief introduction of all of the panelists and their role in medicine-based electives here at Michigan.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Valdivieso. I'm from Peru. My role is to be an instructor in the Spanish intermediate class. We do it with pleasure. We tailor this to the curriculum of the students so that we emphasize the different systems throughout the classes, but also we bring the history taking slowly, like to learn how to welcome a patient, how to ask the patient for the main complaint, how to get to the primary history, the reason for the visit, social history, family history, etc. All of the different components throughout the year. I want to let Jessica to give us a better presentation of the course, but I look forward to see you guys in the future. Jessica, please.
Hi, everyone. Congrats on getting into Michigan. I hope you're considering it strongly. So these are all different students involved in the medical Spanish program. Dr. Valdivieso and Dr. Kate Huey are faculty sponsors for us. This is a timeline of what your time at Michigan could look like if you decide to be part of medical Spanish. In your first year, if you are an intermediate to advanced speaker, we recommend that you take part in the intermediate elective or the advanced discussion group. If you're just starting to dip your toes into Spanish, I would do the beginner seminar series, and I'll talk about what these are in a second. And then as you progress through your clinical years and into the branches, then you could continue with the advanced discussion group because those cases change every month. It's a different faculty member. Or you could be or in addition, you could be a teaching assistant to the intermediate elective when they have breakout groups. And then there are also opportunities for service learning. So I've been an interpreter at the student-run free clinic, which sees uninsured patients. And then you can also take part in the migrant clinic, which largely takes care of like middle-aged farm workers that mostly come from Mexico, and they're just here in Michigan for a summer. And then we also every year through our chapter of LMSA hold a health fair in Ann Arbor. And during your clinical year, during the clerkships, you can be asked to be placed in Spanish-speaking locations, like with particular faculty that also speak Spanish. And so you'll go see your patient in Spanish and then come back and present them in Spanish as well and come up with the plan and then give that to the patient. You can do that for pediatrics, family medicine, internal medicine. And then later on, there's also room to do international electives or individually arranged electives if there's a population or a disease of interest. These are the three different options. So the beginner seminar series is more informal. It's about once a month, led by upperclassmen that are native speakers. They're going over introductory conversation topics, cultural discussions. And then bread and butter of the program is the intermediate medicine and Spanish elective. It's 2 semesters long, led by Dr. Valdivieso. And that's part of a national study on medical Spanish curriculum. And then the advanced discussion group models your chief concern class, where you'll go over like presenting symptom and then the differential diagnosis for that symptom and how you would ask your patient about it. This is a little more about the intermediate elective. There are 10 sessions. It's led by Dr. Valdivieso. He's a hem-onc physician. And then there are 2 standardized patient evaluations. And it was run entirely by Zoom this year, which was incredible. This is the syllabus from this last year. You can see that it follows the vocabulary pre-work section follows the M1 curriculum roughly. And so you'll have an idea as long, in part also with the stuff on the left that goes over the doctorate and curriculum. So it mirrors the M1 curriculum and is best suited to do it when you have more free time as an M1. Our medical Spanish program is part of our chapter of LMSA, and we have tons of Spanish-speaking faculty that help us and have been instrumental to the program, and as well as residents that are Spanish speakers, including the residents that are part of our Spanish language and community medicine track. Sometimes we also have patient encounters by Skype with Dr. Valdivieso when he's in Peru, which is pretty cool. And then the fantastic standardized patients halfway through of the class and at the end of the class, where you go through the medical interview that you've learned in English in your M1 year, all the communication skills, as well as the Spanish vocab. And then this is a little bit more about the advanced discussion class. which I talked about before. Bottom right, you see a picture of one of our cardiologists, Dr. Moles, and then a cardiology resident from Argentina that was coming to visit, and they co-led a class on pericarditis, which is pretty cool. In conclusion, I really hope that if you come to Michigan, you will take part in this course. It has been just the light of my time here. I'm so happy to be able to play a part of it, and also student input is what drives a program forward and what makes us better. So we're always looking for more students to be part of our student curriculum committee as well. These are other people involved who I have to say thank you to.
Thanks so much, Jessica. My name is Benjamin. I'm an M1 here at Michigan. I'm part of the incoming Medicine and Mandarin leadership and was able to take the course this past fall. And so happy to meet everyone and talk a little bit about Medicine and Mandarin. So this elective, it's available to first-year medical students. The target of the course is specifically for students who have an intermediate to advanced knowledge of spoken Mandarin. It is a one-semester course that runs from August until December. We meet bi-weekly, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually from 6 to 7 p.m. This year we did it all virtually, and we're hopeful that maybe we can be back in person next year, but we managed to have a number of assignments and activities that were all done virtually. It's designed to correspond with the M1 curriculum. And so what you'll find is, if you come here to Michigan, the scientific trunk is structured in such a way where everything's in certain sequences, like the organ systems are all in sequences. So the Medicine and Mandarin elective, different units in Medicine and Mandarin are designed to correspond with the scientific trunk. So that helps with continuity of material. There is a focus on speaking. So it's not necessary to be able to read or write in Mandarin, although that might be helpful. Definitely have found that from personal experience, it is easier if you know how to read and write, but it's not necessary at all. I have a number of classmates who don't read or don't write, but they do just fine in the course. Again, the focus is more on conversation and being able to converse with patients in Mandarin. There's short weekly quizzes. There's 2 SP or standardized patient experiences towards the end of the semester. One is with a Mandarin speaking community member, and one sort of a final capstone exam project is with a Mandarin interpreter at the hospital. There's a great website that has been put together by our instructor and by a number of medical students who are in this course. So this is sort of a home base for our program that has like audio and all the vocabulary that's necessary. So it's easy to reference, and it's good, even now for me, having finished the curriculum, to go back and review things if needed. Jane Chang Miller, Dr. Miller is our instructor. We have a faculty advisor, and then there's 3 of us M1s who are going on to the leadership next year. Feel free to email me if you have questions in case there's something that doesn't get answered during our time together, but thanks so much.
Great, thank you so much, panelists. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Jessica Carducci, do you want to start?
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, guys. That was really cool. My question was just that, so with both these programs and opportunities, they're available like right when we get there as M1s. I'm just wondering if we're not really sure like where we stand in our language skills, like if it's kind of been a few years, if we did it in undergrad a few years ago, will there be like some kind of exam to like place us into which course, or like someone to kind of like guide us into like, oh, you're intermediate as opposed to beginner and stuff like that?
I can speak to the Med Spanish, how we recommend people that we recommend that incoming students come to all the classes that are, maybe in their range that they're possibly interested in. And then there's no obligation after that. After a month or so of it, you can decide, oh, this isn't for me, or I just want to stick with one class, or I want to do both. It's totally up to you. And then we've also offered to students to be able to do like a conversation, like a phone conversation, or if hopefully COVID cleans up, and in person, just like talk to me for 10 minutes and I'll give you an idea of what might be the best place for you.
For Med Mandarin, there's like a short application. And so they just ask that you do a quick like 1 to 2 minute recording of sort of an introduction in Mandarin for the course instructor to assess your proficiency. And I found that most of the time people who have an interest in the course, everyone basically gets in. It's not designed to sort of winnow people out. Like we start pretty basically on the first few weeks and then sort of ramp up as we go, but it's meant to foster and help growth.
I was wondering, do you feel like it's overwhelming to do this and also be involved in like research and service in med school, or do you feel like it was manageable with your curriculum?
For medical Spanish, I have thought it's been really the most fun part of my week. Like thinking back to M1 year when we could also meet in person and we had dinner every time that we met. People would often stay right after that and go study. And the fact that it mirrors the curriculum, it was just like reinforcing the material. And sometimes you even have a professor that's giving a class in your like English curriculum, doing a med Spanish class. And so you kind of get like a hint, this might be on the test type of deal. So it was extra helpful.
And we don't take exams, and we don't chastise anybody.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us later. Thank you guys.